This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we'll be repairing a coin-operated top-loading washing machine that's leaking. So I'm going to be using Torx 15 bit to remove two screws from the top console. So you don't really have to have the key to do this. You can just do this with simple tools, but you do need a Torx 15 bit. We'll take out these two screws and then we can move the control console out of the way. So we've unplugged it, so make sure there's no power. We're going to move the console toward us a little bit and then lift up. And that exposes some of the modular electrical connectors and also a couple of clips that we can use. We can disconnect to take the cabinet off. So I'm going to be removing this one, which is for the lid switch. Just pull up on this, get it off to the side, and I'm going to use a standard head screwdriver to push in on the front of this clip and then pry it back. This is what's holding the cabinet in place. There's one here on the right too. So it's pretty easy to get these little clips off. And then I need to disconnect all of these electrical connectors. I'm going to use a standard head screwdriver to help me to kind of pry the connectors apart. Again, make sure you've got it unplugged. Maybe take a picture to help you with putting it back together so you get the right two sides of the electrical connection put back together. So I believe there's three of them that you have to connect or disconnect so that you can remove the cabinet. And some of these come off really easy, like this one you just pinch in on the side, and the other two you have to kind of pry them apart with a standard head screwdriver. Just take your time. Okay, now we can lift the cabinet up toward us at 45 degrees and just kind of walk it backwards out of the way. It's a bit heavy because it's got the big coin box on the right hand side. Just getting that out of the way so we can get a better look at what's going on with the leak. You can also tilt the machine, but that makes it a little bit harder to tell where the leak's originating. When it's flat, it gives you a better look. I'm reaching underneath the pump because that's a very common place, but it does not feel wet. And I don't see any evidence of any water dripping from that area. That's a very common place that these direct drive washing machines leak from. The leak appears to be coming more from the back. I'm going to pour some water in a bucket, put it inside the tub so I can get a better idea. So now I should be able to see a little bit better where it's leaking from. Now I'm looking down on the back left-hand side and I see some dripping, and it could be coming from the main seal as a common place, but this appears to be coming a little bit more away from the center of the tub, more toward the edge. So this plastic fin here looks like the source of our leak. Looks like we have a crack there. And that's due to that plastic fin hitting the metal really hard, the metal frame. And that's due to the machine having been overloaded. Somebody put like a blanket in there, and it rocks around so much that it breaks that fin. So I'm using some epoxy. This is 5-minute epoxy. You can use even faster epoxies, might be even better. I'm going to spread out about a quarter of this container onto a piece of cardboard, and I'll mix it up thoroughly. I'm just using a standard head screwdriver. Make sure you wipe off the screwdriver when you're done because this stuff's pretty tough. And you want to make sure the area that you're going to apply it on is clean, there's no grease, and also it's dry. So I'll be tilting the machine over at an angle to get the water away from where the crack is, and I'll make sure I dry it thoroughly with paper towels, and then I'll apply the epoxy. So there's the leak coming out. It's right where the fin connects, and again that's due to the fin hit that metal too hard and caused a crack. So I'm tilting the machine over at 45 degrees to get the water away from the fin. Then I'm going to dry it really well with a paper towel, and then I'll put on the epoxy. If you're using epoxy that dries faster, might be good to put on a couple of coats once the first coat's dry. So I'm using this standard head screwdriver to apply it, and I'm putting it where I see the crack and then a little bit beyond the crack. there is a lot of water pressure that is pushed down on this part of the tub because it fills with a lot of gallons of water, and I want to make sure it's a pretty strong repair. Tubs are kind of expensive, and also it's a lot of labor to install a new one, so if you can use epoxy or silicone to seal it, that works really good. I've seen some technicians also remove the spin basket and put some sealant in from on top of the crack, which is a good idea, because then when you put water pressure down on it, it's less likely to fail. But if it's a good quality epoxy and you use a couple of coats and let it really dry, it should do the trick. So with this machine, this is kind of a popular place where the leak occurs due to a crack, and that's always due to improper use, where somebody has loaded it with just too heavy of an object or too much clothing. Usually it's a blanket or a bathroom mat will tend to make the machine bang around so much so that something breaks. These fins are supposed to kind of keep the tub in place. So we're just going to let it sit like that, let it dry, and that should do the trick. So thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance.